This is
The Crimez.
What's up? What's up, everyone? Sincere Ignorance is in the building.
Prince Solomon is also in the building, and we're going to go ahead and discuss Wesley Snipes and some of our favorite movies, that is, and then of course some of the not so hot movies, and then of course things that took place later on in his career that eventually overshadowed and in a sense eclipsed his career.
Basically how he got blackballed, so let's get straight into it. Let's talk about his origin tale. First of all, Wesley Snipes was born in Orlando, Florida, but he grew up in the Bronx, New York. His parents were, of course, educated, his mom being a teacher's assistant, and of course his father being an aircraft engineer, which I think is a pretty cool thing, aviation. But to get back into it, he went to performing arts high school. He attended the State of University of New York at Purchase, and also attended Southwest College in Los Angeles, California.
Absolutely magnificent backstory.
Yes.
Excellent. Eclectic, especially for a male Negro child. Hallelujah for the brother named Wesley Snipes. Also, at the age of 23, Snipes was discovered by an agent while performing in a competition. He made his film debut in 1986 with Goldie Hawn, Wildcats. Later that year, he appeared on the TV show Miami Vice as, of course, a drug-dealing pimp. Yes, and in the episode called Streetwise, which aired December 5th, 1986. In 1987, he appeared as Michael Jackson's nemesis, "You Ain't Bad," in the Martin Scorsese directed music video Bad, and the feature film Streets of Gold. That same year, Snipes was also considered for the role of Geordie LaForge. And if you all are not familiar with Geordie LaForge, some of you may not be, he's the guy that's got the optic blast, the brother with the optic blast on his eyes in Star Trek. I know there's a lot of people that will say, yeah, I just remember the brother from Star Trek, but there are a lot of Star Trek fans anyway. And of course, the role eventually went to LeVar Burton. And also, in course, in a Flash paradox scenario, Wesley Snipes not only accepts the role, but he also hosts Reading Rainbow.
I know, right? Right? Yeah, you know what? Wesley Snipes would have fit well in that role, but of course, the person who it fit a little bit more got it at the end.
Yeah. But
let's go and talk about a little bit of this catalog that we're starting off with so far. You talked about Goldie Hawn, Vehicle Wildcats in 1986. How did you feel about that movie?
I thought it was an okay film for the time period it was in. It was just like a lot of 80s comedic sports films. I thought it was okay. I think Goldie Hawn, to me, she has a very funny collection. Overboard, Private Benjamin. She has a lot of funny things, so I think she did very well. And, some of the stuff we've seen later on, like The Replacements, they kind of pulled from a lot of that type of stuff back then, which was very prominent in the 70s and 80s.
She was also in a movie with Mel Gibson, right? Like Birds something.
Yeah, I believe so.
Going to Overboard real quick, the interesting backstory of that is when it first came out in theaters, it got crushed by the critics and it didn't do well. It went straight to TV, where there it actually became lucrative and a lot of viewers flocked to see the TV movie, which is what it was turned to. But yeah, people really tore into that movie when it first came out, Overboard.
I think, especially, I will say, probably at that time, I mean, I don't know what the hell their standards were back then, because they were talking about a lot of earlier Janet Jackson's dope albums.
They had an issue with.
It just sucks. It's not real music, and she keeps dancing.
They got an issue with Janet, period. And what was the other one? The Rhythm Nation. They had a mix.
It's trash. It's it's a little bit. It's a shtick. Social commentary is a shtick.
So, but anyway, going back to Wesley Snipes. How we got off here was through Goldie Hawn, and we said she had a very nice catalog. I think she was a funny woman. I think she still is. She can still pull it off here and there.
Do you think she's better than her daughter?
Yes.
I agree.
Yes. Especially Goldie Hawn had that whole classic Twiggy look thing going on in the 60s and the 50s as well. Mm-hmm. Her daughter, I think, didn't she recently get into comedy in the later part of her career, in the later half, but she kind of started off with serious work.
Like American something that got nominated for Oscar.
Almost Famous.
Almost Famous. There you go. Look at me. American something. I mean, all
the shits look the same. What was it? American Beauty, Magnolia, American Magnolia Beauty, and then Almost Famous while being in America and beautiful. Like, all that shit was the same at the time. But I remember everybody hyping about Almost Famous, and I remember I watched it. I was like, okay.
But let's be real. Some of those movies that do get nominated for Oscars, there'll be some flukes in there that people later were like, oh, we don't know why we nominated that, but whatever. That's why I don't care about, the award shows.
No, not really. But Oscars so white. But anyway, so let's start it off here. We touched on Wildcats. How did you feel about Wildcats?
It's the same thing with you. I'll have to concur. It was a popcorn film. 1986 came out. But I will say it's forgettable. It's forgettable for both Goldie Hawn and Wesley Snipes.
I did like Wesley's energy at the earlier stages of his career. It's kind of like what Denzel went through. Like, they were the upbeat, happy, joking Negro in the earlier part of their films.
Which
in their
few
career.
of them work pretty good that you like from Denzel, because the one with the the racist cop that gets his heart that shit was stupid, but it was funny.
It was funny.
I had to say Denzel did have a lot of charisma in there.
Yeah, it was funny. I'm going to tell you, you should not eat that hot. You cannot eat that hot dog. I wouldn't do it. So yeah, Heart Condition. It was a funny, but in a way, it was a tragic film. But it was crazy how they were able to take something like death and make it still light, though, But it was also on some Ghost Dad shit, too.
It was on some Ghost Dad shit, yeah.
Yeah, Ghost Dad was a trip. But that's a whole nother thing. We need to talk about Bill Cosby's ass, too, as well.
Uh-oh. Dun, 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 dun.
I know, right? I'm going to unsubscribe. Why would he bring up Bill Cosby? We are talking about Wesley Snipes, a real black man. Anyway, so there was also Streets of Gold. Now, I'm going to say this now, okay, to be fair, please be fair to both Sincere and I would say there's a couple films in Wesley Snipes' catalog that I have not seen. So I'm not going to say I've seen them all in completion.
Okay, I'm not going to fake the funk either. If I haven't seen it, I haven't seen it. So,
like, Streets of Gold, I saw part of it. It seemed like an okay film, but it was one of those things where I watched like 30 minutes of it and I said, I'm turning.
Yeah.
So, but Critical Condition, if you look at it, in 1987 with Richard Pryor, he played an ambulance driver. So I kind of got over that. Did you see Critical Condition?
No, I didn't see Critical Condition.
All right, then. It was all right, because there was a period where Richard Pryor was kind of making some whack films. Still, like, one of my favorite comedians, but I was like, oh, come on.
A lot of the great, George Carlin has some corny films. A lot of them do. Chris Rock has some bad ones.
Yeah, and that's why I'm back on Earth. Anyway, 1987, Bad, where Wesley Snipes played Michael Jackson's nemesis, and Michael Jackson looked Wesley square in the eyes and said, "You ain't bad."
Yeah, I thought Bad was a whack video. To be fair to everybody who liked it, or still do, of course, I didn't see it when Bad came out because I wasn't born yet. But, and it's not about being prejudiced or age, because there's a lot of Michael Jackson videos even before Bad that I like, and after Bad that I like Remember the Times. But Bad was literally a bad video, and not bad in a cool way. I thought, it's funny, the worst thing Michael has ever directed was a music video.
Well, also, yeah, because there's people, they were like,
Martin.
Yeah, Sincere don't know what she talking about. She don't even know nothing about the video. Bad was a good video. No, it wasn't. Michael Jackson was dressed as Catwoman, okay? And he was spinning around with that one glove, and it was hot. And he kept saying, "You ain't bad." Like, if I'm a gang member, and especially if I'm a gang lord, if the dude said, "You ain't bad," we kicking the shit out of his ass, okay? But also, Bad was like a declawed Beat It video. Because
It was.
In Beat It, at least they had switchblades. And it was Bloods and Crips on the set. Everybody from Bad looked like they were extras from Fame.
It was a Fame-ish. It was a Fame-ish type of commercial. I mean, I'm about to even commercial. I was about to say that's how bad it was. It was a Fame-ish music video.
Yeah, and Prince said, I'm not participating in that. They was like, Prince, do you want to hear Michael Jackson say, "Your bud is mine"? And Prince was like, no. He was like, I'm not saying that to him, and he's not saying that to me.
Yep.
So anyway, but yeah, it was funny. It's still even funny now if I click on it and I look at it, and I was like, damn, that is Wesley Snipes.
Yeah, Wesley Snipes is in the Bad video, and Michael's telling him, your bud is mine.
I can't imagine what they said afterwards. Yeah, man, that was a great video shoot. Yeah, I know, right? I mean, when I said your butt is mine, and you just gave me this real serious look, I thought it was awesome. But anyway, moving on.
Well, we should also mention that Spike Lee
go ahead,
discovered the Wesley Snipes through the Bad video, and because of that, he wanted to put him in Do the Right Thing, which he declined because he didn't want to have a small role in Do the Right Thing, which is what Spike Lee was offering him. Mm-hmm. So he chose to do Major Leagues, where he had a larger part playing Willie Mays. Yeah, because I think Wesley was like, look, man, that's the last time somebody tell me my butt is theirs and I'm getting kicked off the set. So no, Spike, you can't tell me that. I like Major League. It's still, actually, if it comes on, because I don't own it or anything, but at one time when I was little, like my mother, when I was like really, really young, my mother, she had a lot of these films on VHS. Major League, as we stated, Overboard. She even had Wildcat. She was a big Goldie Hawn fan. But I liked Major League. I thought it was a pretty good movie. It did pretty well at the box office. It was the first movie Wesley Snipes was a part of that, had some solid numbers, and that, he's kind of getting in the big leagues there. Yes. So it was a good movie. Now, I'm going to go ahead and skip over that bookmark and get into one of my favorite movies, Mo Better Blues, baby, starring Denzel Washington and Wesley Snipes. Mo Better Blues is definitely it's underrated. It's one of Spike Lee's best films. Yes, and it is, which he has a lot of. But it is a movie, though, like you said, that is underrated for Denzel, Wesley, and Spike Lee. Yeah, people don't bring that up, that Denzel and Wesley were going head to head in the movie. That's how they became friends. Yeah, and also, I want to say this about Mo Better Blues. Rest in peace to Guru from Gangstar. He did a dope soundtrack to that film. Spike Lee's sister was also in the film. Yes. I think the cover art to it was nice. It was jazzy. What was her name? Fun. Joy Lee or something like that. Joy. Yeah, it was Joy. Joy Lee, yeah. Yeah, the whole film was, like you said, was dope to me. The music by Bill Lee, the cinematography by Ernest Dickerson, Denzel and Wesley Snipes in a movie, head to head. Come on, y'all. Together. Think about that. You know what I'm saying? And also, I mean, the budget was $10 million. The box office return on it was $16 million. Okay, so it did good, and that was when Spike Lee was still getting his foot into the game. And I just thought the feel of the movie was excellent. It's classic Spike Lee. I also like the production company's name, 40 Acres and a Mule Filmworks. That's a staple. That's Spike Lee's staple. I think they're still running now, and of course, the music was done by Bill Lee. All right, and Bill Lee is a dope American musician. If you check out some of his jazz instrumentations as well, that's why that feel of that movie was just awesome. So again, also the great Bill Nunn, who died last year. Did he die? He died last year, right? Yes, he died last year. Yeah, Bill Nunn. Okay, because there are some people that do listen. They're like, who the hell is Bill Nunn? Most notably for everybody is the Dudda Man. All right, and also what was the other movie? Is it Do the Right Thing?
The one where he played radio.
Yeah, he did Do the Right Thing.
Yeah. Two notable roles that people know him
New
for.
Jack Swing.
Yeah.
And you mentioned he did New Jack Swing.
And
Do the Right Thing, of course.
yeah,
Nino Brown.
Yeah, Dudderman in New Jack City. All right.
He played in a lot of actually awesome films, parts on TV series, and he also was a part of certain plays. You know, he actually played in August Wilson's Fences, of course, before Viola Davis and Denzel took on the tradition of that play and made it into their
which was a great
thing,
movie.
which was a great movie. But yeah, you know, he's one of those what's that white guy, the fat heavyset one with the blonde shaggy hair who died or committed suicide? No, I think he did commit suicide. I can't remember his name right now.
Yeah,
but I'm mentioning him because, you know, you have all these actors.
You say fat white guy
with the shaggy blonde hair. He was always you haven't seen those movies with Jennifer Lawrence with the whole whatever. So
Okay.
just moving on. You know though, there's always a collection of actors that are always utilized because they're good, but they never become mainstream. So they'll never be a Denzel or a Brad Pitt, but you always see them in films, and you always know they're dope.
What was the film that Jennifer Lawrence was in?
Mockingbird. He died. He played in like the second Mockingbird, and he was supposed to be in the I believe in the last installment, but he died, so he wasn't able to be in it, and he was nominated for a lot of Oscars repeatedly. So
he committed suicide.
I think he committed suicide. I'm not 100% sure, or it was like a drug overdose or something like that. But I know it was in the Mockingbird movie, and I'm gonna kick myself for not being able to remember his name. But
okay, because I didn't see the Mockingbird films.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. You're talking about Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yes.
That guy.
Okay, Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yes.
And then you have people like Nunn, and then you know those type of actors who always get a lot of work, but never become like mainstream.
Actually, with Philip, he was actually becoming a late bloomer because at that time
he was movie after movie after movie.
Right, yeah, because he was kicking up some dust because they, especially in a lot of the, I guess you would call them the arty films.
Yes.
He was catching a lot of steam in that one as well. And I remember when he died.
So it's him, you know, Jeffrey Wright, what we saw him getting a lot of shines on the movie Westworld. You know, you see these guys always in films, but they never get the mainstream, I would say, recognition. They always like one or two steps behind a Denzel Washington or a Brad Pitt,
right,
or you know all those Leonardo DiCaprio. So I just wanted to mention, but yeah, Nunn was one of those guys.
Yeah, he was, and he'd been around for so long too as well. Mm-hmm. So anyway, I bet people are like, how the hell y'all get off of Wesley into Bill Nunn? You know,
connecting. They both played on Mo Better Blues.
Yeah,
and a lot of the black movies y'all guys and ladies like in there. So gotta bring it up.
Yeah. So anyway,
now we go into Prince's favorite film, Jungle Fever. So
wait a minute. Okay. Well, first of all, no. Okay.
That was a delay.
Second, because I was like, wait a minute, what am I doing? All right.
I'm sipping some tea now while he explained his way out of this one.
It's already explained. I just said no. But anyway, 1990. Remember King of New York? You can't skip over that film. And New Jack City. You skipped over two films, y'all. Two dope films, you know.
Oh, okay. You know, I did. I was too anxious to control, so you're right. I shouldn't have done that.
Hold this L, Negro. Let's bask in this moment. No.
Okay.
But King of New York. Did you see King of New York?
Okay.
With Christopher Walken.
King of New York, I did see with Christopher Walken, who was also another good actor, and I thought it was a nice combination of Wesley and Christopher Walken in the film together.
And Lawrence Fishburne was in there as well. As he was going by
Lawrence
Larry
Fishburne.
back then. You know, Larry. But when he got some prestige, call me Lawrence. Yeah, but yeah, it was a good film.
I thought it was a solid film. You know, of course, in the box office, it didn't do, you know, all that well. But you know,
I went in. I went in everything.
I thought it was a good popcorn film for what I felt. You know, at that particular time, popcorn films were, you know, with this particular crime thriller with, you know, and like you said, Lawrence Fishburne was in it. He was also a damn good actor.
And he is not Samuel L. Jackson, because people, they remember that one guy saying,
yeah, he tried to mix them up. You know,
he said, "So I look like Lawrence Fishburne to you?" Mm-hmm. I was like, "Yeah, that's
chocolate
bad.
M&Ms. I don't
Come
know
on,
which one.
Skittles and chocolate M&Ms." But also, King of New York, it was a good film, but I personally feel it's overrated. You know, because I know a lot of times in hip hop culture,
But everybody
they
wants to
overrate
talk
it.
about Frank White. That's why.
Yeah.
Of course, it's gonna be any look. To be honest with you, King of New York, it was a solid popcorn film, but let's be real, it was a low rent gangster film.
It was.
Out of Godfather,
He
and
walking
Casino,
around.
and all those movies.
He walking around unemployed.
Yeah, King of New York was like.
I went in. Everybody got their shit organized. He come to the table with nothing. I went in. Shut the hell up with your funny hair. But yeah, I know it's been evoked in hip hop culture a lot, but I personally feel films like Casino and Goodfellas are better, you know, but that's my take on it. So, you know, he had a very passive role in that film. Now we get into the New Jack City. For the love of the money. Yeah, Nino Brown, where there was a lot of people that thought it was based on the real life story of someone. It was an amalgamation of different gangster narratives.
Yeah.
And it was nominated for MTV Movie Award for Best Villain.
Why did you mention that? That's an irrelevant award.
Best Villain. Because, hey, look, Nino Brown was a fucking terrorist in that movie.
Man, you had he was.
He was bad. He was fucking bad. You know.
Well, you know, do you think this whole started the colorism wars? You know, Wesley Snipes,
shit, here we go.
Ice-T.
No, I'm not saying
what's
to you.
What was the
He stabbed Kareem Akbar.
Christopher something Williams?
Yeah, it was a
Christopher Williams.
light-skinned brother with feather hair and a unibrow.
That didn't have a strong career that people bring up all the time.
They said that his career ended when he got stabbed in the hand.
His career was a blink of an eye, and I like the singles that he came out, but come on, his career, he had a nice deep voice, singing voice, but his career was over within a blink of an eye.
That right there, I can't believe there were so many brothers that put so much of emphasis on that particular scene.
That whole war, yeah.
Like, motherfuckers only, like, quote unquote, if you look at that era, like, what? They only had like the bars, like people holding on to the bars.
I know, but you know the funny thing is when he got stabbed in his hand, it was like a victory. Like they were saying with the whole colorism thing, the light skin reign is over. I'm like, what the fuck?
I mean, I guess if they're gonna talk about what. But you can't even argue that took place in the 70s because you had brothers like Trent and Jim Brown running around. You had brothers like
Al Green, James Brown.
Well, even in the movies, you had Isaac Hayes when he did Truck Turner. You know what I mean? And then Richard Roundtree was a sex symbol back then.
If we're talking about the blaxploitation films, you had black men of different complexions.
That's what I'm talking about. What was this Negro Civil War happening?
I don't know. We might as well pass the Fox.
Yeah.
Negro Civil War and really get into the movie.
But okay, yeah. But anyway, I just thought that part, like, even like it was evoked in pop culture where like rappers are still hanging on. Like then it's people
stabbing in the hand like Wesley Snipes.
Then here's the thing about it: it's motherfuckers from our generation that are talking shit about it. I think people sometimes the men in our generation played it up too much more than what it really was.
Oh, they was.
It was just a dope scene. Nino was pissed off. He says, "Look at my shit, reduced to rubbles." Oh! And the guy said, "Ah!" He said, "I never liked your pretty ass anyway, motherfucker." And then that's when, but nobody said nothing about when G Money came up. He was like, "Oh no, it was Bill Nunn's character." He was like, "Nino." Nino. That's all I remember. Bill Nunn kept saying to the other man, "Nino." Every time he was fucking up, "Nino."
Man, let's just get straight into the people who played it. Wesley Snipes, Ice-T, Chris Rock.
Oh shit.
Judd Nelson. As you know, a lot of people starred in this movie with a budget of $8 million that in the box office smashed it with 47.6 million.
Ooh, that is a fucking return.
Mm-hmm.
Damn. You know, that's when Ice-T was on his pro-black shit, though.
Yeah, I'm black as black.
Yeah, I want to shoot you so bad, my dick hard.
Mm-hmm.
You wear this medallion, you selling poison to our people.
Mm-hmm.
Come here, Coco. Hold this gun while I point at him. Yeah, I thought it was a dope film at the time, and I just thought Nino Brown was just a fucking grimy ass character. Like he was clearly a psychopath. He was clearly a sociopath.
He was psychotic.
He was a second tier sociopath and like a first tier psychopath. He was clearly like he had no loyalty. He fucked his homegirl's woman, which unique. She didn't have no loyalty. She just didn't care. It's just I think G Money put too much emphasis on the relationship.
I did. I think it also had a dope soundtrack. Just to bring that up too.
Well, that soundtrack, I mean, that was a part of that era, and they kicked up a lot of jazz too as well. I love how they was flipping a lot of jazzy joints too as well, and being innovative and creating their own style as well.
It's beautiful. And
Mario Van Peebles was in there. I still kind of thought he was like a underrated staple in Hollywood. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It was a funny movie. It was very funny. What was some of your favorite moments? Because we talked about when Kareem Akbar, because all them brothers had the Akbar Mustafa's names back then. Like when he got stabbed in the hand, we talked about that. But were there any specific scenes that you was like, oh shit, this machine?
Basically when Pookie had relapsed and
I can't just say, man. They keep calling me.
And G Money realized that he was wired and all that type of stuff.
That shit was funny. His face.
Yeah, his shit was just funny.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, there was a lot of funny moments in the movie to me. Even more funny looking at it now than when I looked at it when I was a kid. But I think everybody, look, it was, I liked and I miss those black films being popular at the time. You know, before John Singleton typecast themselves, and I don't mean typecast by having a majority all black cast. I'm talking about in subject matter. You know, there was a Higher Learning and movies like New Jack City. You know, I definitely enjoyed those films.
New Jack. New Jack. Hey.
And the soundtrack. Another staple. What's that movie with Nina? The character name was Nina, and she was a photographer, and the guy she started to see was a poet. You know, he did the spoken word. Bill Bellamy was there, jealous ass friend, trying to, start some shit. Although she was a. Oh,
you talking about Love Jones?
Love Jones.
Okay, I'm sorry. It took me a minute because
that's why I kept going. I knew you were gonna get it. If I just kept going.
I thought you said Nina. You said Nia. You said Nia Long, right?
No, I was saying her character name.
Her character's name was Nina?
Yeah.
Okay, see there. I just remember them arguing all the time. And then all of a sudden it was like random spoken word poetry. It was like, you motherfucker. Fuck you, nigga.
I thought the movie was funny because of Bill Bellamy, man. That shit was just hilarious to me. But I like them B-rated, A-rated films. Mm-hmm. With Denzel, with people like Wesley Snipes, with Nia Long. I like those films, Samuel Jackson.
Well, Wesley did good and that's later in his career, but he did good in Down in the Delta. I thought that was an honest film. Mm-hmm. But I do remember one thing about Love Jones. That shit was all over. It was like, fuck you, motherfucker. You are the wind beneath my wings. Sister, when I look at you, the way you walk, the way you prowl.
Nina. The way you move is like butter. I stand there and I look at you and I don't know what to say. Mm. My hands just slips off the goddess chocolate.
Yes.
I'm speaking basically the basis of what every hotep nigga is gonna take and utilize to try to get in your pants, Miss Nina.
You are the salt on my Cheerios. I want to be the toilet tissue to your ass. I was like, the fuck? I'm not watching this shit again.
I thought it was funny, man.
Yeah, because they was, you know what, they were so stoic.
They were so entertaining.
They were so stoic in their poetry, you know, because even like honestly, the same like vibratory frequency that Love Jones was on, you know, Poetic Justice was on as well. You know, and I do miss when a lot of that type of the black arts was incorporated into a lot of the black films as well. And even going back to New Jack City, which it was a very hardcore tale. Two scenes in there which was funny to me was when Wesley Snipes, Nino Brown, gave his speech. You know, I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth, Miss Hawkins. Right? I remember that. See, that shit was funny to me, and I just remember them drawing him. And then Bill Cobbs, he says, Nino, your soul is required in hell. And Ice-T's homeboy in the movie, the white dude, he just looked up and smiled like, bye, bitch. That shit was funny to me. But you know, side note, did you know they was trying to do a New Jack City 2 and Nino Brown was in a coma all this time?
No, I think they need to leave it alone.
Yeah.
You know, New Jack City broke a lot of grounds. It also, you know, was received really well by critics. So, you know,
He was an inverse of Tony Montana.
Yeah.
Same energy.
Same energy.
Anyway, we can go on over to You Got Jungle Fever. She's got jungle fever.
Who came up with that bullshit? Stupid. Oh, Stevie Wonder.
I was about
the only L in his singing career.
He was about to go in.
I'm still going in.
Well, he can't see you when you do it.
I know, but that song was. I know I'm not talking about him talking about interracial relationships. I'm talking about the song is fucking sucks.
She's got jungle fever. I got jungle fever.
Yeah,
And then Michael Jackson hit y'all asses with Black or White.
His wackest song of his career.
I hate that song.
Right beside Bad or Black and White.
Oh no, shit. Black and White's worse. At least I can. I try to. Sometimes when it comes down to some of that shit, I try to figure out which one I can hit the gym with.
Okay.
Yeah.
if the first time I would be able to do Black and White, but the second time I want to jump off a bridge.
And then the
Bad I can listen to probably like 5 times before I'm
and the fucking video looked like a PBS special.
It did. I told my baby on the video screen that she and me.
Did he have a cast on in that video?
And every white person loved this fucking song to death.
You can tell Michael was acting when they recorded. He was like, "This is gonna make a lot of money.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get these motherfuckers. Accuse me of that bullshit. I'm going in their pockets." Didn't he have a cast on in that video? Yeah. But anyway, Jungle Fever. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and let Sincere start off on this one. How did you feel about it?
Look, he's letting me start off because he like watched this movie like 50 times. I mean, like it's like religiously. Like every month we have to see it at least one time. But yeah, I
don't support white supremacy.
Well, let me stop messing around. Jungle Fever, it was a solid movie. Of course, Wesley Snipes. You had Ozzie Davis, Ruby Dee, Samuel L. Jackson. You had a lot of great talent in this movie. Also, Spike Lee acted in this movie as well. He directed it. He produced it. He wrote it. And the budget was $14 million. Came out within the box office, you know, over $43 million, and it was a successful movie. And I would say,
it's a lot of Jungle Fever in the movie theaters.
You know, Queen Latifah was in it too. She had a small role as the mad.
She had the funniest role.
The mad waitress.
Yeah. Well, you know,
it was a fucked up movie though.
I'll be honest with you. Going back to what you were saying, where you was like trolling me a little bit there. I honestly still can't remember the last time I seen the damn film.
You know, for me, I think I saw. I'm sorry, I was drinking some water. I think the last time I watched Jungle Fever one time, and it was probably in the early 2000s or the late 90s.
Yeah, I thought the film was corny. It's the only Spike Lee film that I really kind of like, because it's not even so much about the interracial aspect of it. It's how they came about. It's like he saw her at the job, and I know it's a realistic scenario.
I was gonna say, I mean,
it's realistic.
If you even take the race out of it, like even
it's just
from your experience at some of the jobs he used to work, there were people who would hook up at the job.
Oh yeah, it was people who was trying to hook up with me. I'm like, do not have your Negro come up here with that sawed off. So I didn't mess around.
Is this the nigga?
Yeah. So this the nigga? This your work husband? But look, it was just goofy how they came about, and then the language behind it. Then the fact, it was weird because, but I guess Wesley, or excuse me, Spike Lee was illustrating something there. Because if you think about it, do you feel Wesley Snipes' character was color struck, Flippy or Flipper, whatever the hell his name was in the movie? Like, because think about it, like his wife was quote unquote biracial, right? And then he went with this Italian white woman, you know.
Yeah,
and,
I mean,
yeah,
to
if
me,
you kind of look at it,
was the point of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the movie was just being, you know, him being drawn to something different. Of course, the women who was starting it, all the women in the movie were pretty, but it was just about, I guess, addressing what is now is seen as a joke within the black community or from other groups of people, the whole dynamic of the black man with the white woman.
Colorism.
And how, you know, they feel, you know, some black guys are color struck and this, that, and the third. And that is usually dark-skinned black men who want light-skinned black women and on average are with white women. So, you know, that origin of that story started in the late 80s, early 90s. And then, of course, it's, you know, a huge topic in some corners of the United States today.
Thank you, Drake. Nah, I'm joking, but no, actually I'm not, because they did go in on Drake that way as well. But so you feel it was, I mean, when you read the synopsis and you read the backstory behind it, colorism was an issue. In fact, I think I still have one of the books. You saw it, right? It was like the original script of it is one of these collector items, because I got a couple collector items of Spike Lee dealing with the script and behind the scenes and things like that, because I just like his work so much. But I thought what was really funny about Wesley Snipes' character's name was Flipper, and then his crackhead brother's name was Gator. You know, and it was played by Samuel L. Jackson. And then remember Halle Berry was playing the crackhead wife or crackhead. Come on, motherfucker. Motherfucker. Did he give you some money?
Yeah.
Because you remember there was a period where she was playing like crackheads.
Yeah, repeat. What's the Isaiah baby?
Yeah, saving or losing Isaiah.
Losing Isaiah, yeah.
Motherfucker.
You know what's so funny? If Losing Isaiah came out now, black people will boycott it. What is this Hallmark Coon Savior a fucking movie?
Yeah, you know, and this is one of the reasons why, like, if people keep wondering why, like, or we did the video about Jerry Rice, and, you know, the reason why we've been relaxed about a lot of things that people are coonifying is because, like, we look back at the 80s and 90s and people were a lot more crass back then.
But let's say this, though. Do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing that black people have become more sensitive to this?
I think it depends, because if it stifles black people's growth artistically, and if you actually put in black people that own specifically black media or own their own publishings or whatever, and you decide to boycott and you put them out of business because you're uncomfortable with an image and you're not even understanding the psychological breakdown why you may be uncomfortable, and maybe that is a bullshit opinion that was forced on you. Because we got a partner right now, Anthony Piper with Trill League. He's really scared about, I'm just putting out there, he's nervous about how it may come across to black people, especially black women, because he's like, look, at any point in time they can shut my shit down if it's on TV. And they have pulled a lot of black shows because black people got mad, and these people are actually hiring specifically black folks. So it's a give and take. I think when they call shit correctly, it's good, but a lot of times they be misfiring.
Miscall. Yo, ref, no, I don't care. You're out of here. Ejected from the game. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, y'all putting a lot of Negroes out of jobs, man, with this protesting shit sometimes.
Well, going back though, the interesting thing is Flipper. He was mad at his job. He felt he wasn't getting a promotion because he was black. But the way he carried himself when it came to the opposite sex is the same way, though, that the men he was working with who were white acted towards him, but not when it comes to a sexual manner or a romantic relationship, but when it came purely to work, you know. And that's why he couldn't get a promotion, even though he was a hard worker and one could say the best at his job. And
Right.
so, I guess for Spike Lee, he was bringing in that whole dynamic where, it just happened,
Well, also, yeah, and we're going to, move on here as well. But also what you were saying about him being a bit stymied at his job because he felt, as a black man. Like, I think it looks like unconsciously or subconsciously, he went with the philosophy, well, if y'all won't let me get this, then I'm going to get this. Because I know especially a dark-skinned black man, that some of your women find me extremely appealing. Because, there are some guys that feel like they getting back at the white man, quote unquote, by sleeping with a white woman. Because we've seen it before in the comment section. Some guys hold that.
White men don't care.
No, they don't care.
Because the wealth is still in their pockets.
Exactly. So, moving on to 1992, The Water Dance. I have no idea what this film is. I'm not going to lie to y'all. I told y'all, I don't know. Okay, let me look at the... Nope, I thought I could look at the cover and it could
Did we skip over Sugar Hill?
Oh, no, we ain't skipped over Sugar Hill. That's my movie right there.
Okay,
that's later.
What are you talking about? What movie did you bring up again? What was the movie?
I'm trying to figure out what I'm talking about. The movie's called The Water Dance.
The Water Dance?
Yes, starring Eric Stoltz, Wesley Snipes, William Forsythe, and Helen Hunt. You remember Helen Hunt?
Okay.
I just remember her from
I don't know that movie. So, are we ready to move on?
White Men Can't Jump. Also, by the way, yes, they are in negotiations trying to start another White Man Can't Jump. I forget the dude's name, the ball player from the Clippers.
Eddie.
No.
Oh, Griffith. His name is Griffith.
Yeah, Griffin, something like that.
Something like that.
It'll come back to me.
The one who smacked Bieber a couple of years ago.
He smacked Bieber?
Yeah, he was acting up in the restaurant.
Oh, he thought he could try him.
Yeah, he was people were talking a little
He's
bit
not
too
as
much.
black as the other ones. I can try him. Oh, shit. Oh, fuck me. Security?
They didn't get security for him because he was being a dick at the restaurant, so.
So how do you feel about that film?
A Water Dance?
Hell no. I don't give a fuck about no Water Dance. I don't know what this shit is. I was talking about White Man Can't Jump.
Oh, white?
Blake Griffin is his name.
See, I got the Griffith part right.
Yeah.
What did I say before?
You said Griffin. It's Blake Griffin.
Okay, Griffin.
Yeah, but so if he... First of all, I don't know why Justin Bieber tried this dude anyway. You know what I'm saying? Because Blake Griffin is built like the Hulk sometimes. You know what I'm saying? It's very powerful brother. Anyway, so what I was saying though, they're talking about doing a White Man Can't Jump and he's supposed to be attached to the project.
No. But what I will say is I thought White Man Can't Jump was a funny movie. This is before a lot of the PC culture. You can make fun of white people, vice versa, all groups of people. And as a black person, you're like, I don't give a fuck. All right, if white people want to make their stupid movies about us, we're going to make some fun, entertaining movies. Although this one wasn't really about trying to undermine the humanity of white people, though. But, White Men Can't Jump was definitely a funny movie. It grossed $90.8 million at the fucking box office. And, again, Woody Allen and Wesley Snipes, great combination. I actually wish they played in another or started another film together.
Yeah, Woody Allen.
They had great chemistry.
Yeah, well, it's wait a minute, is I think Woody Harrelson.
Did I say Woody Allen?
Woody Harrelson. Yeah, Woody
My bad.
Allen. Yeah, Woody Allen.
Woody Harrelson. I didn't mean Woody Allen, the director. I don't know why I'm bringing his name up.
There's a no-fly zone.
Pedophile.
Yeah.
But anyway,
we're gonna make sure that white man can't jump.
Woody Harrelson and Wesley Snipes had great chemistry together.
Yeah, Woody Harrelson. He was he's a funny dude. He's actually one of my favorite actors, and he's supposed to be the new he's supposed to be in the new Planet of the Apes movie as well,
which makes me want to see it now.
Absolutely, so
Samuel Jackson there and his 1 millionth movie.
Yes, well, Samuel Jackson is going to be in the other 8 movie with King Kong.
I like Samuel Jackson's work ethic real quick. This is like this guy plays in more movies than anybody else I've ever seen.
It's stated on record, out of all the actors, he has the highest grossing filmography.
Because he puts in a lot of fucking movies.
He
That's
beats
why.
out Will Smith and Tom Cruise hands down.
Because he keeps. Look, he got a lot more movies than them.
Last time I checked,
he doesn't stop.
When I looked at it, he had grossed $8 billion And that was like, shit, 5 years ago.
Sam plays in movies that people have never seen. Sam plays in movies that everybody has seen. Sam plays in movies that some people have seen.
Look, let me tell you something.
Sam knows how to get that work in.
When I was like really little and I had, you know, like when your folks had that VHS shit. And I remember going through movies and fast forward and I'm like, oh shit, Samuel L. Jackson was in this movie and he's like the ice cream man. Mm-hmm. Hey, how you doing?
He just show up.
Yeah.
Cash my check.
Yeah, you go to the other movie, he's a police officer. You go to another movie.
Cash my check.
Yeah, that was early in the script. But White Man Can't Jump, my favorite character out of there was Rosie Perez's character. Okay. She was funny as hell to me.
She's always funny.
Go get me some water.
She was funny on The View.
He was like, oh, you thirsty? No, what I mean is I want some water. Shit, what the fuck you mean? Look, baby, when a woman says she wants some water, she wants some sex. So what the fuck?
I've never heard that before, but I was like, okay. Did Spike Lee write this too? No. It was actually directed by Ron Shelton.
Yeah, she was dancing in a lot of his movies, though.
Yeah, and written by Ron Shelton as well.
Yeah, you know what? That's another thing you and I, we talked about. There was a lot of dope directors of the 90s and in the late 80s that, like, they don't even use anymore.
Nope.
You know? But, yeah, Ron Shelton, he did some funny movies. He did some dope ones. But anyway... So overall, White Man Can't Jump. Going back to what I was saying earlier, the reason why, like, again, since here now we don't get tight about a lot of shit, you know, culturally when pertaining to black folks, because look, you have films called White Men Can't Jump back then, and 90 million, you know, in box office, like nobody was cutting up. Like again,
directed by a white guy.
Yeah, and then on top of that, if you go, I'm telling you all, if you go listen to the humor, like just go listen to the comedy albums from the 90s and 80s. People were very blunt back then.
They're like, look, this is how I feel. They were blunt about how they felt politically. This is Phil Donahue. So you're saying, John, as a black man, you feel uncomfortable with the way white men are treated. John, tell Jack, who's sitting right here, why as a black man you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, what's his name again?
Jack.
Yeah, Cracker, I can't stand you. And every time I walk past you, I smell 500 years of wet dog decay.
And then they'll go to John. Well, you see, it's like you guys are privileged, okay? You're privileged bastards, okay? Excuse my language, Phil, but you're privileged bastards, and I can't take it.
Yeah, well, if I wasn't on the stage, I'd kick your ass.
Wait.
Okay. I don't want to be disrespectful.
Before we get into this.
All right.
So you said.
Yeah.
You just feel because of slavery. That's what I heard you brought up 500
Fucking
years.
Slavery.
Is it slavery in particular that makes you angry with white people?
No, that's part of it, but I can't find a motherfucking job.
How you feel about that, Jack? That John is basically saying he can't find work.
Hey, buddy, that's not my problem. You know, you pull yourself up by the bootstraps like I did, okay? Like that's the air they were on back then. But like I will say, like today, one thing that's not like generationally people exaggerate shit. But one thing that's not exaggerated is like people bitch about everything today. Everything, like a lot of shit that got played in the 90s, in the late 80s, that shit wouldn't even fly. Like we talked about losing Isaiah or saving Isaiah. That shit, man, motherfuckers would have critiqued that. They would have boycotted it.
I think it's the issue of being pent up with PC. Because like you said, I mean, with Phil Donahue and everybody, and you think about the black leaders and black people and white people and all the other groups of people, they just said what they want.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a build up to where you're like, I haven't been able to say what I want.
Yep.
So I'm going to act out by trying to block every single thing I don't like.
Well, you know, I would tell you something. As I got older, I'll tell you the first time I personally saw it. Mm-hmm. You remember the 1999 film with Nas, Belly?
Yeah.
All right. When Belly came out, believe it or not, it got pulled from theaters because black people protested and said they didn't want that representation of black people on the movie. They didn't
want that cool movie.
And you fast forward today, like it's shit all over the place. Well, and Belly.
To be fair to those people, they did boycott not too long ago. What's the Shorty Low? No, Shorty Low
My Baby Mamas.
Yeah, with
come on, that was
they did boycott that.
That was an obvious L. It was obvious. Like I was like, Shawty Law, I fuck with your music, but come on, Negro, like you know better than
Rest
that.
in peace.
Yes, definitely. But also, I will say this though. I remember when they pulled Belly from certain movie theaters, and it didn't make sense to me because the way the story ended, DMX found redemption. That was the part that tripped me out. I was like, yo, he found redemption. You know, so I mean, what we're saying is that that's when I saw it start kicking up from Belly, and then it kept getting worse. But anyway, moving on to one of my favorite movies by Wesley Snipes in 1992 was Passenger 57, Always Bet on Black.
That famous line, yo, I love Passenger
Yeah.
57.
Yes. Yeah.
Nah, I'm messing with you.
Yo, I was looking like,
what am I about to say? Passenger 57. Yeah.
Passenger 57.
You know, I love, you know, it's the Enemy of the State, like I said, with Will Smith.
Yeah.
So going back to Passenger 57, I like movies like that.
Yeah.
You know, this whole thing about terrorism, who's the terrorist, who isn't. But I think Wesley Snipes' character, John Cutter, was definitely a dope character. And
He had a dope name, John Cutter.
I know, right?
And you remember, look, first of all, it's one of my favorite.
I'm cutting niggas.
Yeah, one of
crackers.
my favorite. One of my favorite musicians scored the film, Stanley Clark.
Yes.
And it was classic 90s Stanley Clark when, you know, he was like, my name is John Cutter. And you heard the music goes dun 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 dun. Yeah.
Actually, I'm thinking about watching this now when we're done with this.
Hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
After we watch some more episodes of The Young Justice.
Absolutely, amongst other things.
But yeah, getting back into Passenger 57, what else did you want to say?
No, it was one of my favorite movies. I like the fact that he was a regular brother with a special skill set. And he was unapologetic about stopping the situation. He beat the shit out of homeboy with the blonde or reddish ginger mullet. And that villain, I can't even think of his name at the time, but he just had a villain face.
Yes.
I wanted to kick him. Mm-hmm. You know? And you know, like, in the classic line, always bet on black. And
that shit was so
I remember
dope.
when they had the sisters saying passenger 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, and passenger 57.
But it's important, just like Enemy of the State, which focused on the NSA before people paid attention to it. You know, in this movie, Passenger 57, they actually had a task team or organization that was for anti-terrorism, and it was a unit created. So it was interesting, you know, how, you know, these movies always hit home on something.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And definitely, I'm going to say that could easily be my favorite Wesley Snipes movie.
Oh, it's one of the look, $15 million budget.
Yeah. Box
office over $44 million.
Absolutely. All right, the next movie was Boiling Point. That was another video. That was okay. It's a movie I don't really go back to because I feel like the storyline was kind of light, but I believe it had Dennis Hopper in there. Viggo Mortensen, who got a crazy catalog. He's been around a long time.
Great catalog. We need to do a video on him soon.
We'll do that on Retro Media Gods, y'all, because we're gonna be doing that as well, and we're gonna be in front of the camera. I know people be like, y'all can be in front of the camera on Thought Crimes.
We're gonna be in front of the camera naked.
Yes, absolutely.
And Prince is gonna be wearing his Bieber shirt.
Well, then I can't be naked.
Yeah, you could be your shirt. You could be half naked.
I'll have my ass out.
Mm-hmm. That's a bad combination, though, saying Justin Bieber and ass out.
Well, he's assed out, so that is true. But did you see Boiling Point?
No.
Okay, then pass. So we'll skip. All I remember
Can we just go straight to Demolition Man? That's what I thought we was about to go to next.
Well, I was bringing it up because I thought maybe you haven't seen it. Rising Sun. I saw that one. It was okay. Pass. It was kind of in the Boiling Point. No, I'm just being real. It was in the Boiling Point territory. Because there was some films he had that was like, use pass. I'll turn the channel. The fucking game is on.
Demolition Man technically it's supposed to be a pass, but it was so entertaining.
Wait a minute.
With Stallone and Snipes.
You thought Demolition Man was supposed to be a pass?
No, I'm talking about with some of the critics.
Oh, fuck the critics.
But I thought it was an enjoyable film.
One of my favorite films.
And guess how much it grossed in the box office? $159.9 $3.1 million.
Yeah, because that was that Stallone and Wesley power.
Sandra Bullock too, a newbie, you know.
Be well, Lieutenant Lanina Hudson.
I liked all three of them in that film.
Yeah. But Wesley Snipes was the ultimate villain in that movie.
He was.
You know what I liked about him though, and that showed you how good of an actor he was, because if you compare his range of being a villain in Demolition Man, and he was ultimately the evil guy in that movie. It's not the same type of evil that he had showcased as Nino Brown.
I agree. And can you do the narration of Demolition Man, basically the synopsis of it? Because I want you to click on it and read it, because I want to hear your movie voice.
All right. Demolition Man is a 1993 American science fiction action film directed by Marco Brambilla. In his directorial debut, the film stars Sylvester Stallone and Wesley Snipes. The film was released in the United States on October 8th of 1993. The film tells the story of two men, an evil crime lord and a risk-taking police officer. Cryogenetically frozen in 1996, they are restored to life in the year 2032 to find mainstream society has changed and all crime has been seemingly eliminated.
Nah, dope. And this is why I like that movie too, Demolition Man. No more needs to be said about that. But I guess we can. It was a fun fucking movie. I don't, you know what I'm saying?
That's one movie. Every time it comes on, I stop and watch it.
Now I think I might watch this over Passenger 57 and watch Passenger 57 after we watch Demolition Man.
Absolutely. And other things may happen as well.
Golden Lord upgrade.
Yeah, with Golden Lord.
Because he had that blonde haircut too.
Yeah. He did
the blonde hair.
Lord.
I actually think I like, you know, some dark skinned people who have blonde hair. I think it's a nice contrast.
I keep thinking about the African singer. I forget her name.
I know he talk about stunning.
Yeah, she has the golden hair as well. But yeah, he was tearing it up, and the martial arts sequences with him in there was excellent.
Yeah, how did you feel about Stallone? Why does Stallone always sound like he was a drunk though? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
when he was falling out of the helicopter.
Do you think it was just his voice? That's just the way it is. Like he just had like a heavy tongue or something, right?
It's because he's slow.
Let's stop that. That's not politically correct.
Yeah, okay then. Remember when he jumped out the helicopter? Why did he say Phoenix can't hear your ass? You know what my favorite scene in there though? When he runs into the warehouse and he say, "Where are the bodies? Where are the hostages?" Right? And then Phoenix character Wesley Snipes, he says, "Don't move, light your ass on fire."
We need to get that movie poster.
Yeah,
I want to get that movie poster.
That is one of the doper movie posters.
Yeah, I like that. There's a lot of dope movie posters in the 90s that we definitely need to get. Some also, we both said we like the science fiction ones in the 60s too. They got some really dope 80s. Yeah. Alien, you know, all those dope posters. Where there's a lot of movie posters we need to get.
What's that on your head? What the hell good is that? Okay, but anyway, moving on.
Money Train. Oh, your favorite singer, isn't J-Lo in there?
Wait a minute, how the hell you skip over Sugar Hill?
I tried to bring up Sugar Hill before you brought up Sugar Hill.
We going down the list.
Let's go back to Sugar Hill.
Okay, all right. Now let me take that back. I think it's not Passenger 57. Well, it's Passenger 57. Sugar Hill is like two of my favorite Wesley Snipes films.
Yes. So tell everybody why you like Sugar Hill.
Because it was just a classy ass movie, and he was a clean ass drug lord, and he was like a polished Nino Brown, you know, and him and his lady, Vanessa. Yes. Vanessa. You know, I just remember he kept saying her name, and they all kept saying, "Is that right? Is that right?"
You know, Steve Harvey played in it. He had a small role as a background character. The clerk.
I know I did not see a mustache. I don't think anybody had a mustache in that movie. Would you like tuna fish? Is that right? Yeah, but it was a good movie. And his brother was a fuck up. Mm-hmm. You know, and also It was based on a true story. The actual script writer, it was based on his life, Barry Michael Cooper.
Yeah, because he had a lot of flashbacks, pertaining to his brother and the whole situation, drug overdose, drugs period, violence and all that. So it was an interesting story. I thought it was enjoyable as well. Like you said, it was a good film. Yeah,
and I love the classy, jazzy energy around it as well, and how they were alluding to the Harlem Renaissance era as well.
Love it.
That's what I said. Yeah. A lot of that stoic energy from those black films is kind of.
But what's so dope, seeing those movies and then experiencing it, going to Harlem, going to Apollo Theater, going to the Black Comic Book Festival, you can see why they had those type of movies. And if they were do a more contemporary movies on black people in Harlem, it'd be that same atmosphere.
Yeah, and I want to say this 2 things, and I agree with you. The music was by Terrence Blanchard, is one of my favorite jazz musicians, and then Clarence Williams III, when he played the father, he was that was a good, powerful scene, and of course Ernie Hudson. He was very irritating in the film. Ernie Hudson, he's a cool cat, but when he plays a chump ass dickhead, he does it very well. And then Michael Wright, he's been fucking up in the 5 Heartbeats. He's been fucking up in Sugar Hills. Nights like this, But anyway, it was a good movie. Moving on to now, which films do you want to pick out from this point on? Because after Sugar Hill, it gets kind of iffy with Wesley.
Type of
Tu Wong Fu and all that.
But it's Woody Harrelson again and Wesley Snipes because they had such good chemistry, and White Men Can't Jump. They collaborated again together in Money Train, that starred Wesley Snipes, Woody Harrelson, Jennifer Lopez, Robert Blake, Chris Cooper. What did you think about Money Train?
Shit, I remember the film vaguely. I do remember them being in it, and I do remember Jennifer Lopez being in there as well. From what I can recall about it, nothing bad is evoked when I think about it or look at the movie poster. I think it was all right. I think it was good.
It wasn't a bad film and it wasn't a good film. It was okay. And, the $68 million budget, box office $77.2 million. I think for this particular film and what they were doing with it, it didn't need to have a $68 million budget. I think it would have been better as probably like a $20 million film. And also, this also showed at the time the box office appeal Wesley Snipes had for a while before other things came into play.
Yeah, and that's why we said we kind of gonna have to skip around here because his filmography starts kind of getting all over the place a little bit. But as long as they don't do a remake, I'm cool.
Yeah, well, Money Train.
Yeah, because Hollywood looked like they would reach and pull out this one. They were, we're gonna do a remake.
1993 to from 1993, I guess, to when did Blade come out? 1998.
Blade came out in 98. Yeah. 98, directed.
Okay, so I would say from 93 to 98, Wesley had a pretty solid career with some L's, but overall he was doing pretty good at the box office. The Fan didn't do so well. I know that,
and I like that movie. I love that movie. I love it. I love that movie. Robert De Niro
and Wesley Snipes. Yeah,
motherfucking De Niro was a crazed fan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I heard they're gonna do a remake with LeBron James.
No, I want to see that Space Jam. Space Jam with him and Steph Curry and the rest of them.
Everybody said that would be interesting. It would be interesting if they did a flip and made Steph Curry the part of the Monster Squad or some shit like that. Mm-hmm. I mean, it depends. I guess Michael Jordan, he had enough charisma to make it work.
I like with Michael Jordan though. They put different types of all-star players with him, and they eventually played together.
I don't think you can pull that shit off today.
And so, if you think about it, if you had LeBron, of course you would think of Steph Curry. Someone who's really good at the 3-point line, and someone who's recognizable, and then you have other people like a center who's recognizable but also have high stats in there, and just keep it going, because that's basically what Space Jam did.
Yeah, but I think at this time, the way people's contracts are so inflated, and
It's
merchandising.
The movie though,
yeah. Well,
would make all ties rise.
They don't see it like that though. Think about it. Like they'll get one all-star from a team and cut like 5 people. I'm sorry, you guys got to go. Why? What happened? Kevin Durant. Oh shit.
They would have to do it. They would have to.
I think it would be good for the culture if they did. It's a good look.
It would.
But Wait Until Exhale. Wesley Snipes was in there.
Why I don't remember him in Waiting
Because
to
he
Exhale.
had a very passive good boy role in there, for Angela Bassett.
Is Waiting to Exhale that came out before U.S. Marshals?
Oh hell yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
95. That was when she, remember she set the car on fire with the other brother that was her husband was the other brother that was cheating.
Yeah, I enjoy. I was gonna get back to that because I want to get to U.S. Marshal because I really fucking enjoyed that movie. But Waiting to Exhale, I did like the film. I thought there was funny moments of the film. Angela Bassett, I just like her.
Whitney Houston.
She did, of course, Whitney Houston. I'm forgetting the woman who's. She always sounds like an aunt to me. You know which one I'm talking about, with the one with the very soft-spoken voice.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I can't think of her.
I can't think of her name at the moment.
Yeah, I can't think of her.
And the lady, I can't. She starred in.
Loretta Devine or something like that.
Yeah, she used to be in a lot of black films in the 90s, but.
She's got a funny voice to me.
Yeah, Waiting to Exhale. I did like the movie. I did like it. I liked it, but it was everybody's relationship was fucked up. No one had a happy end, and then they had the guy from The Temptations. Mm-hmm. He's always the bad guy. Yeah. I never seen him in a movie where he played a good boyfriend, husband, or anybody. Always bad.
No.
What you say to me, bitch?
Yeah. You know who I am? That's where Allstate stands. He was in there too.
Yeah. Oh, he was the only good guy. Of all he was the only good guy in the film.
That's where Allstate stands.
Because the one with the soft-spoken voice, the guy who played the husband, the father to her child, her son, he was the Spaniard black guy, but he was gay. And then you had, you said Temptation guy, no good.
Then they had the lady in there. I always called her, she was like, what was she, like damn, keep going. I gotta think of the name.
Angela Bassett, her husband left her for a white girl, and
the sister, the one I was thinking, she's like always like a low budget Robin Givens at the time.
That's what I can't remember her name though, but she played in a lot of black films.
She does.
But her and Robin Givens did look alike.
Yes.
But now thinking about it, that movie was pretty enjoyable. It was funny. Waiting to Exhale was funny.
It was.
With only one good guy.
They had Gregory Hines in there.
Yeah, but you know what? The Allstate guy who plays I shouldn't call him that because he plays in a lot of films and stuff. But he does have a superhero. Just even how he talks in interviews, he sounds like a superhero.
He does. He sounds like T'Challa's father. Always, he does. But Michael Beach was in there, and he was the one that was cheating on, I believe, Angela Bassett's character.
I'm gonna ask you something.
And he was cheating in Soul Food.
That's
as
what
well.
I was about to say.
He's just got a cheating face.
He does. He has a slimy cheater's face. What has he not played? Even though he was on a television show where he was a cheater, do you think this says something about his character?
I think I think it says something about him needing to pay his bills. I'll play this shit again. I don't give a fuck.
I'll typecast myself.
Yeah, he didn't care. But I remember that, and you talking about old boy Leon? Mm-hmm. I'm Leon. That motherfucker, man. He's funny. He makes me laugh, but every time that's even when he rolled his name in the credits, Leon.
Yo, he's something else, man.
Yo, man. I think he should have played a villain in a superhero movie.
He could have.
Because he's got the arrogance.
He should have did
and the poise for it.
He just should have did a thriller too at that particular time, since superhero films weren't as popular as they are now. Even though you had some that did very well, he should have did a psychological thriller. That would have been nice. I'm Leon. I'm not bisexual. I'm just saying. Remember that movie he did, Undercover? Yeah, that shit was funny too as well. But anyway, Waiting to Exhale. It was a funny movie to me. It was a very funny movie. Now, we talked about The Fan, one of my favorite movies. Murder at 1600. I enjoyed that. I liked it. So, it is what it is.
A lot of conspiracy theories behind it. One night stand. Well, go back to the other movie. You said there was a lot of conspiracies behind it, such as. Yo, they said, there were people that have come forward and said that it was loosely based on events that may have taken place in the White House with certain events. I can't give a specific event. I don't know who the fuck got murdered at the White House. The question is, who didn't get murdered at the White House?
Yes.
Which murder at 1600?
Prince isn't trying to get... Prince, you do know the NSA is already watching us anyway. You don't have to not let us know what
That's why I'm trying to make
events.
money. I'm trying to make money. I am not trying to go down the exposing site.
You don't want to be in a cell next to Manning, Chelsea Manning.
Cause all people gonna do is pat me on the back and say that's good, bro. But
you a hero. Yeah. 7 years.
Shit, she can't get them years back.
Nope.
Shit, how many whistleblowers ended up under the river?
With Obama, shit,
well, all the motherfuckers.
Chelsea's the only one that got out. That is getting out 5 months after
That's fucked
he
up.
left.
He gonna pause her life for 7 years and then let her out when he leaving.
After he left.
Yeah.
5 months.
Make sure you lock the door.
Man, that's fucked up. Yeah.
Yeah, but Murder at 16. Oh, what I did like about Murder at 16, I liked his little his collection of like when he was into the Civil War, because like. When my folks was stable, like we had those things, you know what I'm saying? But you know how parents, black parents, some black parents be telling children, nigga, what you gonna do though? It's time for you to get a job now. Like, I'm only 11.
No.
Yeah, but anyway.
You 11?
Yeah.
I was 2 and I was working out in the factory. Yeah. Boy, shut your ass up and get up.
In fact, let me tear this shit up. Which did happen. But anyway, in 97, it was an okay movie. It was a good movie. Did you like Murder at 1600?
It's an okay movie.
Yeah. One Night Stand, I did not see it.
Next.
All right. Jackie Chan, My Story. I saw it. Yes, I saw it in it. Next. So now we're going to Sincere's movie.
Finally, man. It was like an hour between that to get to it. From that point of where you talked about XL, waiting to XL. No,
you being ignorant. You should have said. I told you let's jump around because I was like we could start from wherever, but
no.
The sincere part of the ignorance wanted to go into sequential order, so she was saying let's get to this one at a time.
One at a time, but we could skip some as long as we say the name.
Well, actually, because of his filmography, it wasn't that many we had to skip though.
Yeah, but no, he does have some solid joints in there. A lot of them.
Yeah, because if this was Samuel L. Jackson, I ain't gonna lie, there'd be a whole shit list we had to skip.
He got over 100,000 films. Yeah. Ain't no way no one's gonna be able to get through all those.
And then there was a lot of duds in there too.
That's a 10-hour podcast.
Yeah, I know this was a little lengthy too as well, but y'all love us, so let's go ahead and get into U.S. Marshals.
Instead of saying 1992, I should actually say from 1998. From 1992 to 1998, his career was on fire. He had a lot of blockbusters. So U.S. Marshals was another one where it was a $45 million budget, box office $102.4 million, and he got it was him and Tommy Lee Jones. That shit was dope. To have them together in a film.
He's on the run. He's black. Don't shoot.
Mm-hmm.
It was the second installment to Tom. What's his name? Not Tom Ford. Harrison Ford, The Fugitive.
Well, I was gonna say to you before we really get into this film, how did you feel about the 90s? How they felt the good guy was always the black male when it comes to this espionage, NSA type of stuff, government. It was usually the black guy versus the police department, the FBI, the CIA, and they always were enemy number one and trying to prove their innocence while also trying to showcase a corrupt government agency or something, which was their intent from the beginning, or just happened to land in their pockets like enemy of the state.
I think it's an amalgamation of different things. I think it is partly that, but also fiscally, they wanted to make sure they tapped into that fan base as well, because again, black people were, very supportive with their dollars. Not saying they're not now, but especially in the 90s, this, the box office was the thing. And also, Wesley Snipes, he had a very hot career too, so he was perfect for that role. He really was. And Tommy Lee Jones is always going to be that guy.
No, but I was asking, do you think it was something behind it? Not just, the dollar revenue, but you had a lot of political moves at that time, like with this type of atmosphere where it was like, okay, a black man having to prove his innocence from the state.
Okay,
and that's what I'm actually, with that whole dynamic there. Why do you think there were a lot of films touching on that?
Because I think at that time, what year was that? It was 98?
Yeah.
That's still kind of on the tail end of a lot of the pro-black energy.
And you had some, of course, before 98
yeah,
and in 99, but they were mostly in the 90s.
Yeah, man. I think they just wanted to also, maybe some of the people legitimately wanted to showcase this, but also, like I said, just wanted to tap into it as well for fiscal revenue. It's kind of like the same situation how everybody was hocked up on the Black Lives Matter. Whether people agree with it or not, it was a talking point in police brutality. And then we see something like Zootopia, which it was a political film, whether people want to admit it or not. And it was having to do with racism, classism, and it was just something that comes out of the climate. You know what I'm saying? So I think with U.S. Marshal, with Enemy of the State, you got a lot of that, and there was like a brief period where Hollywood did kind of step away from that, and they went in a different direction, but now you've seen it recently kind of reoccur, so I liked U.S. Marshals. I did. I really liked the film.
Yeah, I liked U.S. Marshal as well. I liked the temperament of the film. I probably will watch that again too, along with the other two films that I stated I would watch. But I think the whole political thriller and the thing with Denzel, Wesley, Will Smith, a lot of times, I do think it was like with some of these directors and writers and these thrillers, it has a feeling of like Martin Luther King or Malcolm X. Not, of course, like the things they preached, but just the fact that a lot of times you had black men having to prove their innocence from the government or from a government agency, and then on top of that aspect, you also get the traditional espionage or a political drama entangled with it as well. So that's how I looked at it.
Yeah, and honestly, I saw a lot of that though in a lot of those films at that time. Look, the Pentagon is at this stage in the game, they are filtering a lot of films out. So this is why you kind of see in certain things not making its way. But if you look at things like on Netflix or just on the internet through other streaming media sites as well, streaming sites, you're seeing more politically charged films versus what you're seeing at the box office, because that's after a heavily filtered process. Which wasn't the case in the 90s. So you got a lot of politically charged films hit the screen. Some of those films back then, they wouldn't be made now. They just wouldn't. Or if they were made, they would be tailored differently because there's a filtration process. But after U.S. Marshals was, of course, Blade.
Okay, so you already coming off of a strong movie, and now you go into the first rated R edgy comic book movie that does extremely well at the box office. Right. And it was dope in so many ways. It grossed over $150 million worldwide. It showed that a black male can lead globally in a superhero film that for some reason is in question now. People got a reset in their mind. But anyway, Blade broke so many boundaries just for a rated R comic book film, period. Having a black male lead, a black comic book character, and it was a dope film.
And he brought back the haircut. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, it had a budget of $40 million, and it ended up grossing $131.2 million, which is excellent on the return, especially for a film that's 120 minutes, and it's a hero film as well. And look, I thought it was really, really, I thought it was a dope film. Hey, I enjoyed everything about it. I enjoyed the cinematic feel to the film as well. That's something that I really would like to focus on is Theo Van Sunday. They did a great job with it because I felt the feel of the film had disappeared in the second and third incarnation of in the saga itself. It kind of got real campy. Too many 3D special effects.
And the woman not being there anymore didn't even make any sense to me. I just thought it was like, even though the second one I could bear to watch because it was still entertaining, I didn't think it was a bad film. I still would have preferred what the second one could have been. And then the third movie, I wasn't feeling at all. No. And that being said, we knocked out 2 other films from Wesley. So Blade 2 and Blade 3 we were not filming. Yeah, we're not talking about. But did we talk about
Down in the Delta? I'd say
Rising Sun?
Yeah, we.
Oh yeah, we did talk about Rising Sun with
it's Boiling Point 2.
yeah, with Sean Connery.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
And again, Down in the Delta, I thought it was a nice, honest film.
But can we go back to Blade real quick then?
With Maya Angelou. What happened?
We could go back to Blade a little bit more, like comic book wise, the illustrations, the look wise. What do you think about Blade comic books from Marvel?
I think after the film, the art got better. Because they kind of had Blade on some campy shit at times in the comics, which it was okay.
Yeah.
But I think it was. I think the comics were straight. They were solid. But again, after '98 and you start getting into 2000s and Scott Campbell starts showing up as well, and guys like Jim Lee, the art to me it just got better.
I'm glad you also mentioned Jim Lee.
Right.
I think I have a book that he signed, Stranger Things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
He worked on there with Sebastian Jones along with a lot of other dope artists.
Yeah, dope deal. We got to do some on Sebastian Jones as well.
Yeah, we will. But now this video is also supposed to talk about how Hollywood blackballed Wesley Snipes. So we look at here from 92 to 98, his career was on fire. What happened in your mind? Or do you even perceive it as Hollywood blackballing Wesley Snipes?
No, not really. I think, like I said, look, he just took an L with the tax shit, and he just became and then it was a joke, and we can't forget, like, black people do drive culture. A lot of black comedians went in on him, and that went in, and then the rest of the culture people followed, and they made Wesley Snipes a joke. He became the butt of a lot of jokes, and people were like, how you not gonna pay your taxes? Who told you you're not gonna pay your taxes? But if you really look at it, look, he served jail time, and even before he went, people have to be honest with themselves, he was kind of fizzling a little bit because he had made some poor movie choices prior to. And then he had that extended suspension, which was why he was in jail. So that cooled his energy off.
What happened between 99 to 2005?
He had Art of War was a good movie. Play It to the Bone I didn't like. I didn't like Blade 2. Liberty Standstills I didn't like. Zigzag I did not like. And 2002 Undisputed I liked.
But he didn't have a big... Oh, you know what? He did have a big... I'm sorry, I'm mixing things. Undisputed was a good movie. And then Michael J. White did Undisputed too.
Yeah, because Wesley was in jail.
Yeah.
Literally. I mean, he was really in jail because in that movie he went to jail. He really went to jail. And the conspiracy theorists would say, the brother, he did a documentary on Dr. John Henry Clark called Walking Tall, which he did do. It was a dope movie.
Look, so let's say how the government blackballed Wesley Snipes.
How did they blackball Wesley?
Tax. IRS.
That's not blackballing though.
But he was in jail. He couldn't do
He
his
went
career.
to jail. He served time.
If that's preventing you from making money, right? That's a blackball.
That's not a blackball.
Yes, it is.
I don't think that's a blackball. I'm just saying. Like what happened with Lee Daniels and Monique, that was a blackball. Whether
that was from Hollywood though.
Yeah, but I think what happened with Wesley, like I said, he just went to jail. That's all. I mean, I understand, like, there's no conspiracy theories about it. He just went to jail. Although we know about the state law and the Constitution when it comes to taxes and stuff, it's an illegal operation.
But he had 2 people who were working on his taxes that...
You feel they set him up?
Selena got set up by the person that was supposed to be doing her finances and taxes. It happened a lot. Rihanna almost got fucked over by the person who was doing her contracts and stuff. Before she got rid of the person, I think she lost about $2 million. It was at that time when she was first dating Chris Brown and everybody was making fun of it. She lost most of her money, and she had to get rid of that person, and that's why she's more tighter and more hands-on when it comes to her finances. But you don't think that's a form of blackballing if someone literally stops your career? Right? Mm-hmm. It could be through anyway. It doesn't have to always be about like somebody bad mouthing you or something like that. It just someone's taking you from your craft. You get put into prison for tax evasion, even though you had 2 people who are supposed to be professionals handling your taxes. I mean, this happened to a lot of people actually.
No, I don't.
A lot of artists, I should say, because a lot of artists like to want to focus on the craft part. And they get fucked over a lot of times from the business angle.
How I feel about it is, I think all it does, to me, what happened with Wesley Snipes, it just shows the hypocrisy in the culture. Tim Geithner has never paid taxes. He's not in jail. He had a chance to serve in the presidency administration. That to me, that was more the important issue is, why that the politicians don't have to, but citizens or quote unquote people that aren't politicians, they have to pay these taxes. And I do understand what Wesley, he did make a legitimate case. He made a legitimate case. And he got jailed for it. I think it was unfortunate. I still think it was unfortunate. But
it says here though, given the short end of the deal. I would say that's given the short end of the deal. Mm-hmm. So I would say that's blackballed.
Well, I don't know. I don't think he was blackballed though. I just think Hollywood felt they couldn't market him anymore after that.
I didn't say Hollywood. I said, don't you think he was blackballed by the government?
I think he was made an example of. Because look, the reason why I say that, this is the only reason why I'm saying that sincere.
Okay.
The government made an example of Wesley Snipes, and he got sent to jail, right? Yeah. But when he came out, he had a chance to work again. Like, to me, when the government blackballs you,
it's not always forever though. For some people, it is a little while. Like for the Red Scare, when the government got in the way of certain actors and stuff, some of them were able to come back, some of them weren't.
Eartha Kitt was able to come back.
Some of them were able to come back, but not all of them. But in that particular, while they were blackballed because they were given a bad deal, an unfair, deal with that whole bullshit that they were hunt that they were on.
The communist hunt.
Yes.
Witch hunt. Are you
the
a
hunt
communist?
From Red Act.
Are you a communist? And people are like, what's a communist? Communist. I just think they made an example of his ass, and I think it was unfortunate. And then what happened while Wesley Snipes was locked up in a way, the government cloned him. The clone didn't come out exactly like him, but it was Don Cheadle. He was replaced by another black
Don
man.
Cheadle. I like him. He has some really good movies like Hotel Rwanda.
Yeah, he has a lot of dope ones. I think. But I'll be honest with you.
I'm gonna personally say it's blackballed. Just because of the definition, I was able to quickly look up to see if I was right or not.
She said quickly look up.
Yeah, I was about to say, let me see if I'm right or not. I found a definition I could work with. Given the short end of the deal, shafted.
Yeah, he was shafted.
So he was blackballed.
So also, he had, after that, I'll be honest with you, after he went to jail, and then he had a situation where he came out. He did a lot of direct to DVD films, Some of them were okay. I remember seeing The Contractor in Art of War 2, The Betrayal. Then he had a reemergence on the big screen with Brooklyn's Finest, but he got killed in it quick. Which Brooklyn Finest was a good movie.
Looking at this though, I would say the Blackball in front, but the whole tax issue did fuck him up, because there were a couple movies he was supposed to be in that ended up doing very well that he wasn't a part of because he was in prison and having the whole tax issues. And also, people didn't know, Denzel Washington actually wrote a letter to the judge.
I remember that.
And called in and everything.
The judge didn't give a fuck.
I don't give a fuck about you, Denzel. You ain't gonna save this.
He said, you better shut your ass up. That's what you better do. I saw Training Day. You making fun of the law. But and then he came back and he did Chirac as Cyclops, which was bad. And now he's in post-production of Temple and another film called The Recall. And Wesley just hasn't been the same since. He really hasn't.
All I expect from Wesley right now is just to at least do good B-rated films.
He keeps trying to push for Blade 4.
No.
Yeah, so I mean, but at the end of the day, he still had an amazing career.
He did.
You know. Do you have any final thoughts on this?
Well, my final thought is for everyone just to let us know what your opinion is below. I guess I will call this, instead of how Hollywood blackballed Wesley Snipes, I'm just going to put how taxes blackballed Wesley Snipes.
Well, how Taxstone blackballed Wesley Snipes. No, I mean, an appropriate one is... how the government stiffed Wesley, or how the government sniped Wesley.
No, I'm gonna make it, how
the government sniped Wesley. That's a good one. But whatever, we come up with.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
But anyway, awesome actor. I still think he's dope. And look, I will say this though, a lot of his direct to DVD films, he was focusing more on his martial arts in the films, which I did appreciate more, because I always want to see more of that of him on the screen. I mean, I like the serious drama stuff that he was doing, but I enjoy it when Wesley roundhouse kicked the hell out of a motherfucker. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, same here.
The boy's skilled, 6-degree black belts and shit. Come on. Anyway, folks, leave your comments below. Wait a minute.
Before
what we doing?
we leave,
What are we doing?
Which is actually, no, we're not going to talk about it now. We're going to leave a teaser. Who will win in the fight? Michael J. White or Wesley Snipes? We're not saying it here. This is a separate 10-minute video. This is to give y'all people time to think. That's all I have to say.
That is a lot of black on black crime right there. Highly trained black on black crime. This is, of course, your boy Brent Solomon.
And this is your girl Sincere.
And we are out of here. Peace.
I saw the check, nigga. Huh?
What? Stop.